Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning meditation. If you're joining me today, thank you for taking the time this minute to be present with me here. If you're watching it later, thank you for taking the time for yourselves later on, whenever it's available to you. You know that very often what I bring to this reflection practice are things that I'm thinking about in my day-to-day, things that rise up for my personal meditation practice. What I've been noticing probably in the last couple of weeks is the fluctuations in emotions. I notice it, of course, in myself, but I also see it very prominently in the people I encounter, whether it's my personal life, my friends, my family, or it could be professionally. And what's been very apparent to me is how we make a story about our mood. We may wake up in the morning in a bad mood, and immediately there is a whole process that tries to make sense of it. And we are, as humans, are sense making machines. So why am I in a bad mood? Is it because of something that someone said to me yesterday? Is it because of what I have to do today? And then a whole story unfolds. Very often, not only do we make stories about our own personal mood, we tend to also make stories about the mood of other people. For some reason, we may think that the mood of the other person has something to do with us, directly or indirectly. And because that is the perspective, then we may feel even worse. So, emotional fluctuations, which are really just a very normal part of our day-to-day lives, and I'm not talking about clinical issues, long-term depression. I'm talking about the day-to-day fluctuations in mood. Waking up with low energy, feeling blah, waking up sad. And of course, we can also wake up with that great feeling of joy in our heart, with a sense of well-being. So what is the story that we are attaching to how we are feeling, and how does it affect our day-to-day life? Good morning to those who are joining me now. So riding these emotional fluctuations, waking up in the morning in whatever mood we're in, and then observing that mood and not making a big story about it. Very often the stories we make are complete fiction. They rest in our very turbulent minds. They may be triggered by history of things that took place long, long ago, where all the creation of our childhood patterns, our beliefs, our delusions, and then something happens, whether it's organically grown from our own mind or maybe from an interaction with another human. The mood takes place, and that could be whatever it may be: sadness, anger, frustration, exhaustion, lethargy, lack of motivation, and then we make sense of it by telling a story. And this is today's practice. I invite you in a moment to join me in a process of reflection on this emotional fluctuation and storytelling that we all do. And simply explore what comes up for you, what rises for you through this reflection and relaxation, also called meditation. So find yourself in a comfortable position, perhaps seated or lying down, simply allowing the body the comfort of the position that you're choosing for yourself. If you are one that sits very comfortably cross-legged and with your back straight, I'm not one of those people. Whatever is comfortable for you. I am going to ring the bell and invite you to close your eyes. And if closing the eyes is not comfortable for you, simply lowering and softening the gaze so you're looking down to the front of you at nothing in particular and allowing the gaze to soften. I invite a deep breath, perhaps a 4 count in, a 4 count out, noticing with the slow breath you are letting the nervous system know it's time for relaxation. Now let the breath be as it is naturally, the natural rhythm of your breath. And invite the breath to send relaxation throughout the body and the mind. Perhaps you notice where your body connects with the surface on which you're sitting or lying down. Perhaps you notice how your breath moves the chest as it fills with air and then as it empties. Let us scan the body, beginning perhaps with the soles of the feet, and wherever the attention rests, inviting relaxation. Soles of the feet releasing, the arch relaxing, toes softening, the ankles, the lower legs, as you scan the body, inviting relaxation. The knees, the upper legs. You can direct the breath in your imagination to these parts of you, inviting softening, releasing, loosening of any tension. Let the awareness rest in the pelvis area, releasing now, relaxing. Abdomen and lower back, loosening, chest, upper back, and then from shoulders down your arms all the way to your fingertips, releasing. Notice the neck and throat, the softening and opening with relaxation. Those jaws, allow them a softening. At times we hold there what needs to be released now, with the loosening and softening of the jaws, perhaps a gentle opening in the lips, around the eyes, between the eyebrows, releasing the top of the head, the back of the head, behind the ears, softening, simply inviting relaxation into the body as the mind remains open, open for reflection. Perhaps you bring to mind a situation. Perhaps you remember a morning this week where you woke up, maybe sad, perhaps emotional, maybe feeling angry or frustrated. As you reflect on waking up, noticing, I applaud you for noticing. And then see what you have done with that emotion. When you feel, in general, emotions that are not connected to well-being or positive states, what is the next step that your mind takes? Where does your mind drag you with it? Perhaps you look for an explanation. Why am I feeling this way? It doesn't feel comfortable. Perhaps you don't like it. And so you search for a reason, for an explanation. And that search may begin a process of a story being told by yourself to yourself that can be completely fictitious, or perhaps some of it based in some level of reality, some truth to it. And you have created a narrative that doesn't serve you or others. We often look for external explanations. Somebody did something to us, or didn't do something we would have liked them to have done for us. Take a moment as I grow silent and simply look inward and bring to mind a scenario, a situation that you've experienced recently, where you felt an emotion that wasn't comfortable, and notice what your mind tends to do with it. Perhaps when we create a narrative, tell a story about that uncomfortable feeling, we make it stronger. We validate it based on our own creation in our own mind. Is it beneficial? What does it serve? The better the storyteller you are, the deeper you dig yourself into the feeling. I must be feeling this way because I invite you to reflect on the fact that emotions fluctuate and change and transform and repeat and go away. If there is one thing we can be certain of, in most situations, is that our feelings change. Perhaps there could be a practice of knowing, noticing, and naming an emotion. And then, when story becomes to take over, simply sending that story away. We make ourselves the victim as an explanation for our internal feelings. These all come from childhood. Feeling misunderstood, invalidated, not recognized, not appreciated. All these beliefs arise from our childhood experiences and the story we have been telling ourselves then, and often maintain all the way into our adulthood. Perhaps we can simply say, I'm feeling sad. I'm not sure why I'm feeling sad. This is simply how I'm feeling, and letting it be, knowing it is going to change. Perhaps there is nothing that needs fixing right in that moment. Perhaps we can remain okay with being sad, okay with being frustrated, okay with being angry. Perhaps we can simply be okay with all the emotions that come and go sometimes within milliseconds. Sometimes they remain longer depending on our life circumstances, on our minds. Nothing is permanent. Within the realm of the typical human experience. We ride different emotions for different periods of time, different circumstances. It is simply part of the human experience. Can we cultivate an attitude of openness towards ourselves, bearing witness to the emotions that rise, dissipate, change, rise again, dissipate. Witnessing the process rather than becoming active players that enhance our own suffering. How another person behaves towards us is their issue. How we take on that behavior, how we interpret it, what story we attach to it, is our responsibility. Who is in charge? Do we question feeling joy, happiness, contentedness? We just want those to stay there all the time. And yet that is simply not how our human experience happens. The range of emotions create the tapestry of our day-to-day experiences. Can we choose for ourselves an open mind, a beginner mind? Trusting ourselves and our capacity for change, for fluctuations. A mood is just a mood, a kind of energy that happens in the body and the mind. The system working together for you or against you. You choose. Can we feel fully and completely the range of all that is coming our way? Comfortable and uncomfortable. And simply be with it, notice it, without creating fake news, false stories that dig us deeper and deeper into places that create suffering for ourselves. Take a moment and reflect, what would this feel like and look like for you? Simply noticing the emotion, the mood, the feeling, without attaching a narrative, a story. Take a moment. I encourage us to rest in the notion that we can be in charge in a kind and loving way of our own selves, noticing emotions, feelings, recognizing fluctuations, letting go of old stories, old patterns, old triggers, simply recognizing them and letting ourselves know they're no longer relevant in our lives. They served a purpose and can be now released, allowing us a peacefulness that comes from simply noticing, bearing witness to our turbulent mind, and taking charge with kindness of the processes that happen there. Who is thinking? Who is telling the story? Who is responsible? In a moment, the bell will ring again. Indicating the completion of today's practice. You can gently open your eyes if you've closed them, perhaps slowly introducing movement to the body. Perhaps as you go through your day and you notice emotions that are uncomfortable, you remind yourself, this is how I feel right now. It is simply a feeling, an energy. There is no need for complicated stories and narratives to be created. In the flow of our everyday, moment to moment, hour to hour, inviting reflection in relaxation as it permeates our day, our night, our interactions with ourselves and with others. Thank you so much for joining me today. And until we meet again, be well and goodbye.